Good morning, classroom family, and welcome to our very last day of April. Today is Thursday, April 30th, 2020, and we say goodbye to another month. And tomorrow we begin May, a brand new month and a brand new virtue. As I mentioned in the last video, we will begin by honoring the virtue of compassion in May. And May is also very special for us in Catholic schools because we will also celebrate Catholic Education Week starting on Monday, and I've included a little something for you in your package for the next 2 days. So the activities I'm sending will be for today, Thursday, and for tomorrow, Friday, and they will take you into the weekend until we meet again on Monday through video. And speaking of video, I know you're watching this either through a device or a computer of some sort, but I've decided to take a little break from my computer today, so it's not anywhere in the video. Instead, I'm using something like you do each day at school. How you use your agendas is how I'm going to use my magical little notepad, just so I don't forget what we're talking about today. Rather than looking at my computer screen or my cellular phone, I'm going to use a notepad. I'm giving my eyes a rest from screen time, and so should you. I was doing a little bit of research, because you know how I like to research things, and too much screen time is not good for your vision. So take a little bit of a break and get some fresh air, which is why I'm working on our video outside today. And there's a beautiful fresh breeze. It's not so hot, it's not even really that warm, but it is fresh and beautiful just to be out here and enjoying the fresh, cool air. So the first thing I want to talk about with you is something actually fun that I've attached in your files to work on this week. Is a Catholic Education Week word search, and it's optional. So that means if you get really busy with the other work I've sent, you really don't have to do this one, but I think you'll enjoy doing this one. So I'm just going to fetch that one. I'll be 1 second. Just want to make sure the wind doesn't carry it away. This is your Catholic Education Week word search, and we're going to talk more about what it means to be Catholic and be in Catholic schools, because your families had a choice, and they chose to place you in a Catholic school for very good reasons, many good reasons. And some of the words here we've talked about in class before. There may be a few that you may have to look at again or maybe look up. One of them is worship. We know what it means to worship. That's when you go to church and offer your love and your prayers to God and Jesus. That's called worshiping. So when we go to the altar and we kneel, and we go to the cross and we look up and offer our hearts, that's worshiping. The other word that you may have forgotten is parables. Those are those special stories in the Bible that teach us a lesson, like the prodigal son. Remember, we read that one just before school got closed? Well, those are parables, special stories from the Bible that teach us some important lessons or messages about ourselves and, of course, about God and Jesus. So I hope you enjoy doing this if you choose to do it, because it is optional, but I think you'll enjoy this because it's taking that pencil to paper and searching for some vocabulary, and it'll help you as a reader and a writer. Moving on, next, I wanted to talk about verbs for just a couple of seconds. I know we've experienced verbs before when we've looked at parts of speech, but I'm giving you a little activity in the files today called action verbs. Because we've already looked at nouns as an important part of our speech, we're moving on to verbs. And verbs are actually easier because verbs are actions. Anytime you say a sentence, write a sentence, or read a sentence, and someone is doing something, it's the action. There are also adverbs, but we will get to those later in time. Right now, I just want you to listen to a sentence. The children laughed at the theater. The children laughed at the theater. Well, you already know that children and theater are nouns because children are people and theater is a place. What would be the verb? I'll give you a couple of seconds. Yes, you got it. The verb would be laughed because it's something that you are doing. Anything that you can do, sing, paint, draw, write, laugh, jump, are considered verbs. So I hope the verb activity refreshes your mind, and we will then move on later on to adverbs as well. But you don't have to worry about that one now. Something really important I wanted to talk to you about today is, I mentioned that I was outside today for the fresh air, and lately I've noticed something. Air has been fresher and water has been cleaner, not just here, but almost everywhere on our planet. In fact, I was reading a really interesting article about the canals in Venice. Now, Venice is a very famous city in Italy, and many people like to take gondola rides, which is a special kind of boat. And These rides happen on the canals near and around them. And those canals, at least the last time I visited, were very murky and not very clean. But lately, because so many people have stopped being on the water, not a lot of ships or boats, the water has suddenly cleared up. And what was discovered a few days ago, you're not going to believe this, jellyfish have been discovered. And that's pretty amazing, because if jellyfish are clear and transparent and you can spot them, that means the water must be extra clear today. So that's really good news from around the planet and around the globe, that air is fresher and water is cleaner. And in fact, animals are coming out of their regular habitats and exploring places. And why are they doing that, you may wonder? Because people are inside a lot longer, and this makes the animals feel less threatened. So they're coming out, and nature is kind of getting a really new experience. So that's a positive thing. I know we've heard a lot of negative things about the pandemic and the virus, but there are also some incredible things happening on our planet, sort of like a big giant cleanup of the world. And that's good news, I think. Let's look at my list for what's next. Talked about Catholic Education Week, the virtue of compassion, verbs, the environment. Oh, of course, our retelling. Last but not least, I had asked you to start thinking about your retelling and just the beginning of your retelling. And I'm going to help you out with that by reading the very beginning of Benvolio's Heart, just to get you thinking about how you would describe the beginning. So here we go. Benvolio's Heart. From the very second that Benvolio burst out into this world, his heart was singing. It was thumping and glowing and singing a song of love that everyone around him could hear loud and clear. Benvolio's mother picked up her baby boy, placed her hands on his chest, and looked into his bright eyes. "You have an extraordinary heart, baby boy. It will help change the world in beautiful ways." As a little boy, Benvolio had a special way of giving his heart to people. He used his heart to fix things for the people he cared about. First, his heart would guide him to the person who was hurt or in trouble. Then, he'd cheer them up until they smiled wide. Benvolio would spread love and goodness to everyone he came across. So I'm going to stop there just to give you a little idea of what the book's beginning is about, because your job is to start thinking about how you would retell the beginning. And next you're going to move on to problem. All right, so that wraps up our video for today. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again on Monday to begin Catholic Education Week, the new virtue of compassion, and of course, the brand new month of May. And hopefully we see more butterflies and flowers. Have a wonderful weekend. Miss you lots.